Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to view this webinar today for the PSSA Accountability Internal Snapshot in PIMS. Before we begin with the agenda, I want to take a moment to tell you a little about us. The Division of Assessment and Accountability is part of the Bureau of Curriculum, Assessment, and Instruction. DAA is responsible for collecting assessment data for the PSSA and Keystone exams and reporting data for the state and federal requirements. These include the Future Ready PA Index, ESSA Dashboard, PBOS, and USDE. It is also responsible for providing guidance and policies based on federal and state laws. All the PIMS trainings listed in the 2018-19 PIMS calendar will be conducted by the Division of Assessment and Accountability. Today's agenda will cover data submitted by LEAs and related reports. Who submits data to PIMS? Any entity providing educational services is an educating entity. Educating entities include school districts, charter schools, IUs, CTCs, PRRIs, APSs, and SJCIs. Educational entities are responsible for ensuring that all eligible students in grades 3 through 8, and in some cases grade 9, for whom the entity is providing educational services are assessed. In order to submit the correct data, PIMS administrators must first identify the students who were present as of the last day of the testing window, along with their demographics. This data is reported in the school enrollment template. Once the student is identified as being enrolled in the LEA, the student's data is retrieved from the student template. Please make sure that the student's grade matches between the school enrollment template and the student template. There are two templates, student and school enrollment, that need to be updated and uploaded in Collection Window 6. Please be sure that the data passes the Data Quality Engine rules with the PSSA Accountability Snapshot. It's also important that PIMS administrators verify that data has been successfully uploaded by running the subgroup comparison reports in the pre-snapshot folder. It will be too late to change data if the PIMS administrator waits to run the final ACS after the due date. If the data on the ACS is incorrect, the LEA will contact the Division of Assessment and Accountability directly at ra-pas@pa.gov as soon as possible and explain the reason for the errors. The internal snapshot begins with the student represented here by the blue circle, which includes the student's 5 matching criteria. The components that make up the student data are the student demographics and school enrollment, as reported in PIMS by the PIMS administrator. The first template needed for the PSSA and Keystone assessments upload is the school enrollment template. This is used to track student entry and withdrawal from the LEA. An entry date must be entered when a student is being educated by the educating LEA. If the student leaves, a withdrawal date is entered showing that the student is no longer being educated at your entity. The school enrollment template also tracks a student's grade or school building, such as a move from an elementary school to a middle school, which is designated by using withdrawal codes WD11 or WD12. For accountability, PDE uses the student test result for the calculation of performance and participation rates if the student has full academic year or FAY status. Entry and withdrawal dates help PDE determine the students who are enrolled in the LEA. The definition of full academic year, which is used for accountability, is a student who is enrolled on or before October 1st of the current school year and remains continuously enrolled as of the last day of the testing window for each PSSA and Keystone testing window in Math and Algebra 1, Science and Biology, and ELA and Literature. Here are two examples. The last day of the testing windows for the 2019 PSSAs are April 26th for ELA and May 3rd for Math and Science. If a student changes school buildings within a school year and uses withdrawal code WD11 or WD12, it will not be factored into making the determination of FAY status. Withdrawal codes can be found in Appendix E of the PIMS Manual, Volume 2. These two withdrawal codes are not considered when PDE makes a determination of a student's continuous enrollment calculation, showing full academic year status. It is very important that the 5 matching criteria, first name, last name, birth date, PA Secure ID, and grade, are correct because these basic data fields identify the student, and this is how the student is initially linked to test results. This is why there is so much emphasis on getting these fields right. Most of these fields are now part of the DQE rules when you submit data to PIMS. Sometimes there are students with similar names like Jan, Jane, and Janet as the first name with the same last name. Sometimes names are abbreviated where Robert could be listed as Bob or Rob, or a student's name could be hyphenated in the PIMS file, the LEA Student Information System, or the PA Secure ID system. DRC matches the first 2 characters in the first name and all characters in the last name in the initial matching process. A student's birth date must indicate that the student is school-aged. Sometimes there are instances where there is one PA Secure ID for multiple students or multiple PA Secure IDs for one student. Please go into the PA Secure ID system and make sure the data for this student uniquely identifies that student. Another demographic that has become increasingly important is grade. The student takes the PSSA for the grade in which he or she is enrolled at the time of testing. So if a 5th grader is placed in 6th grade in the middle of the school year, he or she takes the 6th grade PSSA. If the student cannot be matched using the 5 matching criteria, these demographics can help you or someone in the LEA to identify students in the attribution window. This is the list of demographics that are important to accountability. There may be changes in the student's demographics from one upload to another, such as economically disadvantaged and IEP status. Also, please note that race and ethnicity is self-reported, and although not likely, it can change. LEAs should report the student demographics at the time of the present upload. The school, district, and state entry dates in the student template are also used to determine if a student record is included in the DRC file from this internal snapshot. Refer to slide 12 for criteria used to determine if a student record is included or excluded in the DRC file. The guidelines for submitting the school, district, and state entry dates are as follows. These fields cannot be left blank. They are required fields. The dates must fall within the current school year or before. The state entry date, which is field 109, is the date the student entered a PA school. The district entry date, which is field 99, must be on or after the state entry date. The school entry date, which is field 98, must be on or after the district and state entry dates. The student must be enrolled in the state on or before the district, and the student must be enrolled in the district on or before the school. This is a graphical way to show how PIMS applies business rules to unduplicate student records. The LEA types that can receive an attribution are CTCs, school districts, and charter schools. LEAs that are listed as IUs, PRRIs, APSs, SJCIs, location code quad 9, and location code quad 0 are all reattributed to CTC's school districts or charter schools. If PIMS has a duplicate student reported by 2 LEAs, then the LEA with the most recent entry date in the school enrollment template will be used. In addition to the current business rules, let's discuss how data is used for accountability from the PIMS internal snapshot. This flowchart asks a series of questions that show you what data is essential in the PIMS upload if a student record is to be included in the DRC file. We begin with the LEA at the top left of the slide and ask the question, did the LEA upload data to PIMS using the student and school enrollment templates? If no, then the student is not included in the accountability file that will be sent to DRC, which means the student will not be included for attributions. If the answer is yes, the LEA uploaded the data to PIMS, then the next question is, did the data pass the DQE rules? If no, then the LEA will have to upload the data again into PIMS. If yes, the next question is, did the school enrollment template include the student? If no, the student is not in the accountability file that will be sent to DRC, which means the student will not be included for attributions. If yes, the next question is, are the school, district, and state entry dates within the valid date ranges? If no, the student is not included in the accountability file that will be sent to DRC, which means the student will not be included for attributions. If yes, we move on to the next question, is the student full academic year? Whether or not the answer is yes or no, the student is included in the accountability file that will be sent to DRC. We move on to the next series of questions which relate to the attribution map. Is the student enrolled in an occupational or comprehensive CTC, school district, or charter or cyber charter school where the assessed subject is taught? Is the student coded with location code quad 9? Is the student at an IU, PRRI, APS, or location code quad 0? Are there any special circumstances? Based on the attribution map, students are either included or excluded from accountability reporting. The following dates should be used when running the assessment subgroup comparison reports. To run these reports in Cognos, go to Cognos Production, PSSA/Keystones, in either the pre-snap or the snapshot folder. You will need snapshot dates from the previous year and the current year. This will show your subgroup data from the previous year to the current year to help you troubleshoot and ensure the accuracy of your data. This is a list of pre-snapshot reports in production, which is updated twice daily in PIMS. These reports show your uploaded data that will be used in the internal snapshot. If you run these reports, you will still have time to update the data as long as it is before PIMS shuts down to take the internal snapshot. Running the enrollment pre-snap subgroup comparison report will show you enrollment data by subgroup. It is similar to the pre-snap assessment subgroup comparison PSSA report. It shows you what the ACS will report after the snapshot is taken. But at this time, you'll still have time to revise your data if done so before the snapshot is taken. The next two reports are warning reports. Running these reports may help you identify the students who may not be included in your accountability file. These are some resources available to you about attributions, trainings, Future Ready Index, and ESSA. Here's our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to the appropriate contact for assistance. This concludes the presentation on PSSA accountability based on the internal snapshot in PIMS. Thank you.